All right, so we move on to the fourth A's World Series. They were still in Philadelphia. We move on 16 years from their previous World Series, all the way to 1929. So a 16-year drought from 1913 and 1929. And they would beat the Chicago Cubs in 5 games. This is the second time they beat the Cubs in the World Series. And I'm wearing this hat because it actually has a 1929 World Series patch on it. The A's hats, though, did not look like this. They were just blank. This is just a modern rendition of what their hats look like. But yeah, this game, this World Series matchup was really good because it was known for the really good manager matchup. The A's obviously had Connie Mack, and the Cubs were a really good team. They won 98 games and 54 losses. The A's were 104 and 46. And there was more modernized baseball. You had more, obviously back in the earlier 20th century, you had pitchers pitch whole games by themselves with no relief pitchers. In this, you'd see a lot more of relief pitchers and saves. And also, this World Series was infamous for the Game 4 comeback from the A's. They were down by a lot of runs. I'll get to that in a moment in more detail, and they came back and won. So that was pretty famous, and they called it Mack Attack for Connie Mack, just his absolute, ability to, just be a great manager and make good decisions. So, yeah, in Game 1, the A's won in Chicago at Wrigley Field, so a new stadium since the last World Series these two teams played in. And, yeah, the Wrigley Field, Game 1, attendance was 50,000, and that was a lot back then because stadiums usually only held half of that at those times. The A's won 3-1 in Game 1 over the Cubbies in a game with a lot of scoring at the end of the game. The A's broke open the 1-0 start to it in the 7th inning and then scored two more in the 9th inning, and the Cubs only scored 1 in the bottom of the 9th with a 3-1 victory. In this game, the A's were known for Jimmie Foxx, who's a Hall of Famer, great player. He's obviously up there in some of the greatest of all time. He had a home run in the Game 1 and off Charlie Root, who was credited with the loss in this game. And the A's actually only used one pitcher in this game. I know it talked about relief pitching being more present, but in this game, they only had one pitcher, who was Howard Emke, and he went 9 innings and 8 hits. The Chicago Cubs had Charlie Root, who was credited with the loss, and then Guy Bush. But yeah, that home run was great for Jimmie Foxx, who was, obviously very famous back then. And yeah, very much a good one for the A's in this matchup. So Game 1 went to the A's, and now Game 2 also went to the A's at Wrigley Field, 9-3 victory over Chicago. And this game was, yeah, also at Wrigley Field, 9-3 victory in more of a hitting plentiful game where you had 12 hits for the Philadelphia A's and 11 hits for the Cubs, and you had 6 runs for the A's in the 3rd and 4th inning combined. In this game, you had a really good game from Jimmie Foxx again. He had a home run in this game. He was really, really good. He had 3 RBIs total, and yeah, he also had a double, and just a really good one for Jimmie Foxx. I mean, he was just out of his mind back then in terms of baseball. Really good player for the Athletics. And Lefty Grove got the save. Obviously, a very well-known player in this day and age as a really good pitcher. He got the save. It was a 4-inning save. You don't really see that too much. And George Earnshaw got the victory for the A's. Now, Chicago used 4 pitchers, which, wasn't super common back then. They had Pat Malone, Sheriff Blake, Hal Carlson, and Art Neff. And, yeah, but it wasn't enough. The A's won Game 2 pretty soundly with a 9-3 victory. In Game 3 in Philadelphia at Shibe Park, the Cubs did win, though. So a lot of on-the-road victories so far. 3-1 final. And, yeah, in this one, the A's, really couldn't capitalize. They had George Earnshaw on the mound again, and Guy Bush got the victory for the Cubs. George Earnshaw obviously pitched previously, and he got the win, but this time he didn't. And, yeah, the A's weren't able to win this one because their hitting was kind of lackluster in this, and they just weren't able to score a lot, and, yeah, that's kind of how it went. And the pitching matchup was good, though. You had 2 complete games, but the Cubs got the edge. Now, Game 4, I alluded to it earlier, was pretty infamous because of the comeback. Now, the Cubs scored 7 runs in a row. Then they scored their 8th and the 7th, but Philadelphia scored 10 runs in the bottom of the 7th inning. It was famous. You had, a crazy inning, and they overcame an 8-run deficit, 10 runs in the home half of the 7th inning, and before 2 strikeouts by Pat Malone ended it. and they got a 10-8 victory, and it pretty much, you know, ensured the series. At that point, they were really good in this game. Cubs center fielder Hack Wilson lost a fly ball, and it was a fluke 3-run inside the park homer. And you wouldn't see that nowadays. It was crazy to see that. And it was actually the last occurrence of an inside the park home run in a World Series game until 2015. So it goes to show how rare that is. But yeah, a crazy game, because you have, you know, the A's, they're down, you know, 8 runs at that point. The series is getting close, and it would have tied up the series had the Cubs held on to that lead. But this game was crazy. The Cubs had good hitting in this game. Charlie Grimm's got a homer in this game. Roger Hornsby got a triple. I mean, they had a lot of good hitting, but the A's were clutch. They had Jimmy Fox get 2 hits in this game and really led them over it. Yeah, they use pitching a lot more to their advantage. You know, Cubs used 5 pitchers, the A's used 4, and Eddie Romo got the victory in this one, just 1 inning pitch, and Lefty Grove got the save. So obviously a guy I talked about earlier, really, really good, and he was able to get the save, and the A's got that impressive 10-8 victory. It must have been a really, really good game to witness back then in 1929, because, you know, just a crazy comeback, 10 runs in the bottom of the 7th inning to put them over the top. Now, in Game 5, the A's won 3-2 in a walk-off fashion, and they also had to come back because they were down 2-0 pretty much the whole game, all but 4 innings. They were down 2-0, and the A's scored 3 runs in the home half of the 9th to win it 3-2 and clinch their 4th World Series title ever. Yeah, the A's were just kind of a dynasty. You know, they obviously had a 16-year drought, but they would win it again, spoiler alert, in 1930, and I'll be talking about that in a separate video. But yeah, the A's won the World Series in a 3-2 victory in the Game 5. In this game, Pat Malone, the pitcher in this game for the Cubs, he was a really good hitter as well, and he got a double in this game, and he kind of helped the Cubs get that early lead. But Jimmy Fox got, you know, some really good base running. They used to intentionally walk him a lot. He was able to kind of capitalize in that aspect of it. And Al Simmons got 2 hits. Bing Miller got 2 hits, the right fielder, and the A's were just clutch at that point. And yeah, the winning runs were scored in that inning by Al Simmons, Mule Haas, and Max Bishop, and those were the 3 winning runs over the Cubs to clinch that World Series title in 1929. And yeah, this World Series was very, you know, highly anticipated because you have a really good manager for the A's, and you have Joe McCarthy, who was the manager for the Cubs, and obviously Connie Mack, and, you know, a lot of, you know, Hall of Famers in this. You know, Joe McCarthy, Kiki Coiler, Gabby Harnett, Rogers Hornsby, and Hack Wilson for the Cubs were all Hall of Famers. And then obviously we all know the A's had, you know, Jimmy Fox, Hall of Famer, Mickey Cochrane, Lefty Grove, Eddie Collins, and Al Simmons are all Hall of Famers. And it was just, you know, a very highly anticipated, very, you know, exciting World Series, 1929. And 1930 will be exciting as well. We'll get to that when it comes around. So yeah, that's pretty much going to do it. The A's won the 1929 World Series in 5 games, 4-1 over the Chicago Cubs. Their 4th World Series overall. Obviously still in Philadelphia at this moment. We won't get to Oakland for a little bit. And yeah, so anyways, guys, I'll see you guys later. Thank you for watching, and peace out.